From 1910 to 1945, Japan forcibly annexed Korea, imposing brutal colonial rule. By World War II, over 5 million Koreans were mobilized for labor and military service. Villages were raided, and men were dragged from fields with no consent. This systematic conscription violated international laws on human rights. Archival footage shows families torn apart as Japanese soldiers enforced imperial decrees. Japanese recruiters lured Koreans with promises of education, wages, and honorable service. In reality, they were sent to slave labor or frontline battalions. Propaganda posters depicted smiling Korean-Japanese unity, but contracts were signed under duress. Less than 3% received promised compensation. This deception targeted impoverished families desperate for survival during the war. Korean conscripts faced extreme violence in training camps. Beatings, starvation, and humiliation were daily routines. Japanese officers considered Koreans expendable, with mortality rates exceeding 30% in some camps. Survivors' diaries describe being forced to kneel on sharp rocks for hours. These methods aimed to break spirits before deployment to war zones. Over 200,000 Koreans were sent to Pacific battlegrounds like Okinawa and Guam. Transport ships were overcrowded, with many dying from disease before arrival. Japanese commanders deliberately placed Korean units in high casualty zones. U.S. military records note Korean POWs often surrendered first, revealing their coerced roles. Declassified orders prove Koreans were used as bullet shields. They marched ahead to trigger enemy ambushes or clear minefields. At Saipan, 70% of Korean casualties occurred in such tactics. Japanese officers admitted this strategy preserved their troops. Survivors recall being told, "Your lives belong to the emperor." Approximately 150,000 Korean conscripts died in World War II, many in human shield operations. Their bodies were often left unburied. Families received no notifications, only vague missing in action notes. Mass graves discovered post-war contained identification tags of Korean youths as young as 14. These losses devastated generations. Few survivors returned, but their testimonies exposed the truth. Kim Jun-sik, a POW in Australia, described being starved and whipped. Others witnessed executions for refusing orders. These accounts, recorded in the 1990s, became key evidence against Japan's revisionist narratives. Many died before seeing justice. Post-war, Japan destroyed or classified 70% of military records involving Koreans. School textbooks omit human shield tactics, calling conscripts volunteers. Right-wing politicians claim evidence is fabricated. In 2021, a Kyoto University study confirmed systematic document destruction in the 1950s. Korean activists have petitioned the UN and sued Japan for reparations since the 1960s. Mass graves in the Philippines and Indonesia were identified through DNA testing. In 2023, Seoul's War Crimes Commission submitted new evidence, but Tokyo continues to reject legal responsibility, citing 1965 treaties. Japan's Yasukuni Shrine honors 21,000 Korean conscripts against their families' wishes. Meanwhile, Korean memorials list names meticulously. This divide reflects unhealed wounds. Historians warn that without acknowledgement, such atrocities could recur. The fight for truth continues in classrooms and courtrooms worldwide.